Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're taking a look at a very fun idea I found in the Smith-Morra attack. And I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be a cool attacking idea. Also involved is a game because, well, I like to show the games while I go over my kind of trappy or fun ideas. All right, guys, hope you enjoy this. Let's get to work. All right, guys, let's go and take a look at this fun attacking game. Here we start off with e4, c5. The Sicilian here for black. Pawn to d4. You know I'm going to go for my Smith-Morra idea. Pawn takes knight f3. This is actually not the best way to play as far as move order goes, but it worked out in this game. He played knight c6. I played pawn c3. We're now back into Smith-Morra territory. Pawn takes, knight takes because, well, why not take a free pawn? Here we go. Pawn d6. Again, I've said I do not think these are the best ways to play against the Smith-Morra, but hey, d6, you're more than welcome to keep playing it. Bishop c4, the best place for this bishop, and why I think the pawn going to d6 is not the best, because, well, I think the e6 variation is the best because they try to stunt or kill this bishop's activity. Here he played a6, a very interesting move here, and this stops one of my favorite traps that I get to play in the Smith-Morra, which is if they play knight to f6, there's two main moves that you can play here, which is, well, after e5, if they play knight takes, the game ends pretty fast here with knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes check, winning the queen. Or after they play something like pawn takes, here you play queen takes d8, king takes d8 so they don't lose the e5 pawn. Oh, I'm sorry, they play knight takes d8 here. If they play king takes d8, they lose the right to castle, so, well, actually you play knight g5 and you win the pawn back anyways. So then after queen takes on d8, they simply play knight takes d8, and then here you play knight b5 for a double threat. Here it's knight c7, check to win the rook. And here some people will fall for it. They play king d7 to block it, as that's the only way to control this square and stop it. But they fall for a mate in 2. Knight takes check, king e8, knight c7, checkmate. How embarrassing. So back to the game. Here bishop c4 gets played, and the idea of playing a6 is, well, now after they play knight f6, e5 will not work, as you cannot play the knight b5 move. So here I just continue normally. Castles over here, knight to f6. This queen jumps over to its nice square on e2. Bishop over on g4, and this is one of the annoying moves that I've had to deal with for this variation. It's part of this a6 idea. Here, black plays bishop g4 because they want to play knight e5 or knight to d4 here to go ahead and make another trade. And, well, try to give me some double pawns here against my king. And, well, here I played a pretty normal move here. I want to stop at least the idea of knight to d4, so I went ahead and played rook to d1. And this is a standard move because a lot of times what you want to do is play pawn e5 because of the pin against the queen. And, well, here he did not fall for my little pseudo trap. He just plays pawn to e6. Notice here, knight e5 is actually a very bad move. It's a blunderful move, as Eric Rosen says, oh no, my queen, and you just go ahead and play. Knight takes on e5, just winning. And, well, can't we just take the queen? Remember, this is the Eric Rosen's oh no, my queen. If bishop takes, here you get to play bishop takes on f7, checkmate. And at this point, well, white's in a happy situation because you can't play pawn takes because the rook takes the d8 queen over here. And, yeah, white's just going to be much better in this position. But as I said, he's not going to fall for these silly things. He's a strong 2,400 player, almost 2,500. So here he just played pawn over to e6. And here I continued. And, well, here I kind of played for my interesting idea. I go ahead and play pawn to h3. And, well, this pretty much forces him to play bishop takes on f3, the best move here. Remember, if I play queen takes on f3, knight e5, black is happy because they can just make a trade. And because I'm up in development and they're up in material or up an extra pawn, they want this to happen because, well, they want to make trades as soon as possible. After queen e2, knight takes on c4, queen takes, the rook comes over to c8. Here, black's just going to be in a very good position. So, going back to the game, I went ahead and played my interesting idea. I go ahead and play pawn takes on f3. An interesting idea, and I'm surprised that the computer is not just yelling at me because the whole idea is, again, I don't want to lose my bishop, so I play pawn takes. Now, obviously, it does make some weaknesses, but it does have some pros here. Later on, you're going to see an idea I have, which is to play f4, e5. Another idea is, let's just say things go wrong, and things going wrong for me is I don't get an attack against the king in the center. I can play king h1, and the rook can slide over, so I have the open g file here. Very dynamic. I'm not going to say it's the best. It's a little dubious, but again, I like to take a little bit of risk when I play my chess games. That makes the game fun for me. And so, yeah, I went ahead and did this, and he played knight e5 real fast. I assumed he thought I was going to play queen takes, because I'm pretty sure he knows this line pretty well, and he expects to get the bishop over here. And so, well, I played the best move, bishop b3. Of course, I'm not going to let him steal my bishop. This bishop is one of the best attacking pieces in this game, or a very strong attacking piece in these games. And so here he played queen a5. Not a very good move. And after this, I get a very nice attacking idea. Here I go for it. I play pawn to f4. Like I said, I mentioned this earlier, and you're probably saying, yeah, you can play pawn f4, attacks the knight. And here he makes the mistake and plays knight to g6. As we're going to see, knight c6 was definitely the better move to play here because it's going to block my idea, which you'll see pretty soon. But he made his little mistake. He played knight to g6. Knight to g6 here. And here there's a few different ideas you can play. And, well, here I had a specific idea in mind, so I didn't play it. I mean, it's white to move. What do you play here? I think there's two very good ways to continue here. I hear somebody saying it. Here, pawn to f5 is definitely a good way to play. This is actually very standard in a lot of Sicilian Najdorf variations, which is basically just trying to open up the position for the queen and the bishop right here. You can see with an attack like this, it's giving white a guaranteed advantage. In fact, plus 1.4 here. So going back to the game, after pawn to f4, knight to g6 got played. Here I played pawn to e5. What's the idea of e5? Well, after e5 here, my idea is to try and open up this diagonal. You're saying, well, why do I need this diagonal open? Because I want this rook to also control on d7. So here, if the pawn takes, which is the best move for him, then I can play my move up, bishop to a4 check. See, if I had just played bishop a4 check, the pawn can block or the knight can block over here, which is not what I wanted. I want this rook to be controlling this square here too. So bishop a4 check got played. Pawn to b5, and here it was white to move. What do you play here? I will say I did not see all the variations here, but I did see the critical ones. Here I went ahead and played my double exclam, knight takes on b5 here. Here he played pawn takes back and bishop takes back, and here it makes it clear why I wanted this to be opened up, so I can control the d7 square so the knight cannot go there. Now I'll go back to a quick position right here saying that, well, after knight takes on b5, if he had played queen takes on a4, here you have the very nice and easy move, knight c7 check. And this actually just goes into a winning position with some very crazy variations I won't go into. But, yeah, pawn takes, bishop takes check, king over to e7. Here I take on e5. I mean, yeah, the idea is to try and bring the bishop in for check over here. The knight went to d5. Bishop g5 check. This is the exact position which I'm aiming for, especially when you play in these Smith-Morra games. What you're trying to do is go for the attack and just, well, make the king run around everywhere. And these bishops are definitely in their great positions. My rook's going to slide over. I'm at a +3 advantage right now. Here he played pawn f6. Let's keep making trades here. The more pawn trades, the more open files I have. Pawn takes on f6. G takes on f6. And here, rook takes on d5. Dear Lord, did you see that one? Here, yes, I know I'm going to be losing my bishop, but man, how many times are you going to have all your pieces hanging, and it's actually going to be okay? Here, pawn takes on g5. Rook over to e1. Simple idea. I'm bringing my rook in with a threat. There was also this idea of playing rook to d7 check, which I'm just keeping in my back pocket because, remember, try to bring all your pieces in as soon as you can. Rook over to e1. Queen over to b6. A decent move here, as you can see. It does guard this e6 pawn. Rook over to d7 check. King over to f6. Bishop c4. I missed a better win here. Here, I should have just played queen f3 check, snacking and winning this rook over here. I'm not that great of a player. A few more mistakes do get played, especially in a complicated position. Here, I played bishop c4, attacking on e6. And here we played bishop c5. And again, I make a huge blunder. It's white to move and checkmate. Do you see it? Here I played the wah-wah, and I played queen f3 check yet again. I'm not learning over here. Here I missed it. It was actually just a simple queen takes on e6 check. And after queen takes, rook takes check, king f5, rook over to f7 is a beautiful checkmate over here, especially whenever you're down a whole extra piece over here. Well, back to the game. After you played bishop c5, I played the move I was wanting to play queen f3 check. The whole idea was to try and win the queen, and he played the move I thought he'd play. He played knight to f4. I went ahead and played rook takes on e6 check. Queen takes, bishop takes, king takes. He can't take back with the knight as it was being pinned. And now white to move. Again, I do not play the best move. It's white to move. What do you play here? Ugh, I missed it yet again. Here I played too fast and played rook over to b7. The best move here was queen over to c6, and I'll be eventually forcing checkmate, at least if I can find all the best moves. Well, back to the game. Here, we just go for a crazy king hunt over here of inaccuracies. Feel free to look and tell me where I missed the moves. But here I went ahead and played rook b7, pawn to h5, queen c6 check. Now I find the move, one move too late. Bishop c5, I'm sorry, bishop d6, queen c4 check. King over to f6, queen f7 check. King to d6, king to e5, rook over to d5 check. King to e4, queen c4 check. I got like the rolling rooks checkmate going on over here. And at this point, my opponent resigned, as it's just going to be an eventual checkmate in 4 moves here. I mean, yeah, he's more than welcome to run the king forward, but hopefully you can go ahead and puzzle solve this and see the checkmating idea. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, this was an interesting idea to play against this a6 variation that they play in this Smith-Morra, where I just go ahead with a6 with the idea of bishop g4, rook to d1, e6, and you play h3, allowing them to give you these double pawns. So just play g takes f3, and maybe go for f4, e5. If they castle, you can always slide your rook over to g file and go for the attack. Well, guys, we'll see you in the next video.